So it's a massive question in sim racing. Does better equipment make you faster or a better driver or make you make less mistakes? This is going to be a great video for you if you're interested in that, because we've got some incredible equipment and we've got a pro racing driver, Nathan Maxim, in the rig, who's been using this rig to basically dominate the LOGITECH time trial competition going on at the moment. Pro racing driver racing in the Prodigy Racing League. So also going to give you some insights of how this compares to real cars that we're simulating. Nathan, why don't I just explain the equipment we've got on this rig, and then you can go through and compare what you've got at home.
Yep.
So we've got GT Mega bucket seat. This is quite a new addition. We've got an ASCHER McLaren Artura GT4 eSports wheel on a MOZA R16 direct drive base. We've got MOZA CRP load cell pedals on a GT Mega adjustable pedal plate. And finally, the whole thing is actually on the entry-level GT Mega Prime Lite sim rig. And then there's some extras like microphones, but not so important. Nathan, why don't we run through bit by bit?
Yep.
Maybe let's start with the wheel.
Yep, we can start with the wheel. The wheel is great on this rig. Everything is very precise, very clear. The feedback that you get is very precise and very clear. So of all the sims that we've been going through, from Assetto Corsa, iRacing, and now ACC, the feedback that I'm getting is just allowing me to drive the cars so well, and I'm able to get up to speed quicker than I am able to at home.
Yeah.
So at home I've got a Fanatec CSL Elite, I've got the F1 Esports basic wheel, and I've got the V3 pedals, and I'm on a Next Level Racing FGT.
Yeah.
I've got a hybrid, like a GT and F1 setup, so my seat is fairly upright, but my pedals are high as well.
Yeah.
I just like that position.
On the wheel, your point about, so Nathan's basically been setting record lap times in this competition against F1 esports drivers, people who have won like big competitions before. Like the standard is generally really high. I'm 7th, by the way, not leading it. But I think one difference is that there's no flex in between the wheelbase and the wheel.
No.
So you've been using this wheel today at BMW M2, in a Radical SR8, did we go in?
Yep.
And also a Porsche GT4
Club Sport,
Sport. And you're able, I find on the exit, to have that immediate sensation, but also something that we can try and explain is that when you have a moment of counter steer, you're able to immediately know how much to hold it and know.
Yeah. You just get that feeling that you just, even though you're doing it incredibly quickly,
and you get the resistance then. That you like.
Yeah, you just know where to put it, just to catch it at the right. Because sometimes from what you're seeing, because you don't have the feeling of movement from the seat, you sometimes react based on what you're seeing on the screen.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can overreact, sometimes you underreact, but I don't think I've ever had a spin while I've been in this rig.
You haven't actually spun, which when I think about it's crazy. I think actually the only way you can really catch a counter steer in a sim rig is through the force feedback.
Yeah.
When we've both driven and raced real cars, you have all of the sensation through your butt, and you're a bit more sort of feeling more things, but you don't have it here. I've tried motion rigs as well. Always feels like a little bit of a delay. So force feedback, good force feedback direct drive motor. So this is direct drive compared to a belt driven, and also just a rock solid wheel. This is billet aluminium McLaren Artura.
Very solid.
Yeah, just unbelievable. And then a quick release. I've actually sort of fused it onto the quick release myself using an adapter. So, and if you're worried at home about how you get this to work, it's plugged into a USB hub. So it looks complicated, but it's super simple.
No, and it works really well together. Like there's no play at all. Every bit of detail that the sim is trying to tell you, you're getting it right here.
You can see behind us we've got the entry-level MOZA wheel. If we use that wheel, it would be a bit lighter. There would be a little bit more flex in it.
Yep.
It's a circular rim, so you wouldn't be able to keep your hands in there. So I'm not using that. If we use Fanatec McLaren GT3, great wheel, but has a little bit more flex in this. It's lighter as well. The quick release has a lot more play. Like that has a QR1, I think. So that would have more play. The THRUSTMASTER Ferrari 488 GT3 probably has the worst quick release out of the lot. So it doesn't have a lot of confidence in the quick release, even though when you look at it, it doesn't look too bad, but no confidence, whereas here it looks good. Then MOZA Vision GS, I mean, that's probably the closest competitor to this, but we feel as though that's a bit of a party trick.
Yeah.
This is pure performance.
Yeah, this is a very focused wheel.
Yeah.
You don't even have the dials like up, down, left and right on here. It's designed to just, set your settings, go out and drive.
And the final one you can just see here, I wouldn't recommend the truck wheel or the rally wheel, but the MOZA FSR probably actually is the closest competitor actually to this. The MOZA FSR is also a really nice rim, but it has the same quick release grip, but we've chosen this one. Let's move on to pedals. We're actually also right now using MOZA CRP2 load cell pedals. Previously I had the V3s. I think you also have the V3s.
I have the V3s.
So we can explain what we're finding, because we're really happy with them, but then we did a firmware update today and we kind of weren't so happy, but then I think we fixed it. So you're using V3s at home, these are CRP2s. How have you found them over the last few weeks?
They've been great. There's something just a bit more natural about the way these ones feel. To get from 0 to 70% it just feels like you can gauge where that 70% is a bit easier. Most sims these days, anything more than 70, 80%, you're just engaging the ABS, or you're about to lock up. Or
you're locking up in a Formula car, either way.
So I think it's really important to know where that general limit is. Then you can kind of play around. You know, if you get it in your head where 70 is, then you can start playing around mentally, getting to 80, 90 in your head, or maybe even 60. Rather than the Fanatec's at home, they just feel very, very progressive, if that makes sense. And you might think that that's a good thing, but there's something, I can't really explain it that well, but there's just something about it. It doesn't really feel intuitive. Like you can't really get a program in your head and with your leg to know exactly how much you're pressing each time.
Can we think about our experience of racing real cars and the feeling on the brake? I feel like it's a much more intuitive sensation when you're about to lock up. You feel things seize up, you feel the rubber, and you kind of feel that almost like a bite point. It's not a clutch, but so when you have a very progressive sim racing pedal, you're not getting that sensation at all. You actually kind of want to feel that resistance around the lock-up or ABS point. And in the MOZA pit house software, you can do lots of curves, and we were actually so basically we updated the firmware, and I felt like it felt too easy to actually get to that 70%. And then we played around with the curves and we got that sensation back. So they feel more natural to me. I don't even really, and I think this is a compliment, I don't even really notice them when I'm racing. They just feel like natural.
You feel like you're part of the car. You feel like you're part of where you're going and how you want to slow down and where you want to brake. It just feels like you're doing it with your head rather than with your foot, if that makes sense.
And I think another subtle thing there is that on the V3s, they come default with that long throttle plate. You can change it, but most of us keep it. I often end up sliding my foot around that on the straights, and actually now I think about it, it sort of takes you out of, because you don't really have that in a real car. Whereas here, my foot is just always ready. I'm never sliding it around. It's like it's always there.
I mean, compared to the Radicals, the pedal was about that tall. So compare that with your foot. It's like, I don't know if you can see that. That's like there. So you haven't really got any space to move it around the pedal while you're on the straight. But at least then you know you're in the same place every time, if that makes sense. There's not even that much room to move your foot around.
Exactly what you want.
And here, it's slightly grippy as well on my sock. It's textured.
It's like got that texture pedal, because I think they know a lot of people are going to be racing in socks. Because in real cars, and we've spoken about top with Sam Dimlow Walmid, who's professional kart racer, he always wears boots because that's the way he's been brought up. We weren't growing up as kids karting, so we're more natural sim racers. So that is for me a real sim race. Think about the Fanatec and also the original MOZA CRP ones, also which are actually behind them, very glossy, shiny, metallic. So I
mean, to be honest, sometimes recently I've been driving barefoot, and that kind of eliminates the slipping, but you don't really want to be barefoot.
You don't.
But the texture that's on that pedal is very nice. It doesn't encourage slip, even though it's curved. You know, you might think if you're at the top of the pedal like that, you might slip, but it's actually quite hard to do.
To me, they just feel like an extension of what I want to do, which is great. They don't have a party trick like the Fanatec V3 rumble motors, which I use and tweak a lot. They don't have that, but I don't miss it. It's just
I think, to be honest, those vibrations at the back of the throttle and the brake on the V3s, they always come in too late to provide any valuable feedback anyway. So to be honest, I never use them. I don't know if anyone does or feels benefit out of doing it.
I mean, I paid for them, so I turned them on. But
yeah,
you can see I'm wearing a SimuCube, maybe not a SimuCube jumper here. We got a big package from SimuCube, basically active pedals. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, by the way, if you want to see the active pedals, because we're really excited by that. I actually can't wait. Probably the next video is going to have them on.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Let's move on to seat.
Yep.
A recent change.
Yep.
For a year, I've had a regular sort of, I think RS6 GT Mega seat that's adjustable. Don't know about you, I never use that adjustability anyway. It's kind of lost on me. Now we've got a bucket seat on it, and the difference is for me, is huge in the way that you actually just mechanically use your body to brake. Yeah,
you feel like you're part of the car. And I know, if you're sitting in any rig, you kind of feel like you're part of it because you're driving it, but now you actually feel like you're just an instrument within the car to drive the car. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
It's the mesh of like a human being and the machinery of
like the tighter you are, the more connected you feel through the wheel, through the pedals. You just feel like, I'm the one manipulating this machine to get around this track very quickly, and you just feel more at one with it, being in a seat like this.
Because a lot of these things, if you look at the wheel, and I'll take it off actually so we can see, it's ergonomically designed to hold. Like this ASCHER has spent. This is one of the best sim racing wheels you can get in the world, and it's designed to lock in perfectly with your hands, and you're in part of it.
Yeah.
And the seat, I think, has the same philosophy. It's like you sit in there, and it sort of hugs you in.
Yeah. So
one size fits all, I think. By the way, so check the sizing.
I've got my shoulders are pressed up against these here, not in an uncomfortable way, but it's just when you want to give it that quick, you're able to push a little bit from the shoulder. From the upper back as well, you're able to engage.
Rather than it just flops back on it.
Yeah, you're able to engage parts of the body that you weren't really able to engage before. Like my FGT at home, I don't think my shoulders are touching anything because it's quite a slim.
So you're having to use your core probably to balance a little bit.
Yeah, it's quite a slim seat, and I think I'm just a little bit wider than the seat, but and now I see why actual racing cars have seats like this, because you just feel more at one with the car, and the next step would be to be strapped in.
Yeah, so a couple of criticisms, and like every video on this channel, we'll try and be as honest as possible. Lumbar support, we want to make sure we get right, because at the end you were sort of feeling your lower back.
Yeah, if you invited me here for an endurance event, I probably wouldn't do that well after about half an hour.
Yeah.
It might just be me, because many people don't, but I have to have one of these today.
Yeah.
After about half an hour. I've got one at home. I can go for hours at home.
Yeah.
And to be honest, a feeling like this, I could probably go for hours again.
Yeah.
Because my lower back just seems to be a bit of a.
So bear in mind, lumbar support. That's no joke. It's not like a play seat channel. You just sit there. I did 8 hours in a play seat, and then obviously we're worried. I got it in white, so we're a little bit worried about how it's going to get dirty.
Yeah, you wouldn't be peeing in this one.
No, definitely. You shouldn't anyway. You're taking your sim racing too far if you do that. And I have seen as you are now using more stress, there's a little bit more creaking from the rig generally. So I need to go around.
Yeah. I think having this exposes weaknesses elsewhere.
It would definitely would have exposed weaknesses on the pedals.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was that update that we did, but the pedals are just feeling a little bit
easier to get to the end. Yeah.
I mean, I got used to it, but at home, my FGT and my rig, there's a bit of flex there. It's in the seat, and the flex is in the seat, and I've got very used to using my whole body to manipulate the brake pedal the way I want to. But in this rig, I'm able to do it from my hip.
You don't have to counterbalance.
I'm not thinking about braking using my shoulders and my core like I was at home. I'm just able to just brake, and I'm pushing from here. I don't have to push using my back. And that's
how it is when you're in a race car, 6-point harness. I don't know if you're watching, if you put on a 6-point harness, but first time you do it, you're like, oh my god, it's tight, and you can't move.
Yeah.
Then when you actually take it out, like, okay, no, that's just me maybe.
Yeah, there's no point trying to push from your back in a proper.
So I think this rig, these component pieces, actually are starting to see the limitations of the rig. This is the 8th entry-level prime lights, which, and by the way, I'll probably have a lot of discount codes for some of this equipment, not all of it, in the comments in the description. I know, for example, you can get 5% off GT Mega using the code KIRETH'S 5, but like this prime light only has 2. It's like 8. It's not an 8. It's A20, not 8040, I think. Whereas if you had thicker ones, you could use more brackets. Now, as it happens, I haven't used as many brackets as I should. So basically, I need to go around and do a lot more corner brackets. I'm going to buy some. But then I can see that we want to have that absolute stability. Yeah, that's because I've only put 2 corner brackets there.
If everything was tightened up and you had brackets, like extra brackets there to eliminate that, I don't know what you could do about.
Honestly, it's more corner brackets. It's corner. Every time there's a corner bracket. So it just requires me to just buy some more T-slots, which I do. They're not super cheap, but not super expensive. But I think then I'm not going to miss having motion. I'm not going to need a more powerful wheelbase. I'm not going to need a better rim. Like, that's just endgame rim. We're going to let you know about the active pedals versus the MOZA CRPs and see if that's worth the price difference, because the active pedals are very expensive. I don't think I'm going to need a better seat. Like, once you go from adjustable to bucket.
This is great.
So once the rig is tightened, honestly, like, you can go and get a Vasaro rig for 50 grand. That's got fiberglass everything, or one that looks like a Formula 1 car. That you're the level where you have money that I don't have. Congratulations. That's going beyond performance. So, you know, Nathan's a very performance-orientated driver, setting records, winning competitions in this rig. So I think we have an incentive to try and make this rig as fast as possible. So we'll continue doing that. But just to like confirm the premise of this video, Nathan is driving faster in this rig than his rig at home, even though he's spending more time in his rig at home, and we wanted to explain why. So a lot of these pieces of equipment are really, really expensive. So
it's quite gutting. Now I'll have to go home to my own rig.
Yeah, take it right.
Knowing that I'd never set that kind of lap time. This particular challenge that we're doing today, BMW M2 at Donington on ACC, I was a 39.0 at home, and I think it's probably been in here half an hour, and I've done a 38.7.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a proof of the pudding. So let us know your thoughts in the comments. Let us know about your rigs as well, and check out the discount codes if you want to get any of the stuff. Make sure you ask me questions before you do, and we'll see you next time.